Hello, Rosebuds. This is your girl, Kimberly Ann. Especially if this is your first time seeing my face. Welcome to the Rose Garden, okay? You are officially a Rosebud just for tapping in, all right? Just for tapping in. I create content to help people get out of dark places and transform their lives. I have 3 daughters, 4 nieces. I leave these videos as breadcrumbs for them to help them transition through life, okay? I got it in 25 seconds. Oh, hit subscribe, hit like, ring my bell. Also, check the description box below. Plenty of offerings down there. If you need any type of coaching, counseling, I am the girl for you. I do use the art of astrology. If you do not like astrology, I am not the life coach for you. I will not coach you without seeing your contract with God, which is your natal chart. Anyhow, so, yeah, I had a very interesting conversation with my father yesterday. And it's so funny because it literally played out exactly what I was talking about in the video that I posted yesterday, in regards to living in 2 different timelines. So my father picks up my daughters for me when I go to work, when I go to school and then off to work, because I literally leave school and drive straight in work. And he takes my middle baby to her dance classes. Her dance classes every Tuesday, well, 4 days a week, child. She go to a lot. But we had an interesting conversation, and it's so funny because I got a break in class and went to call my babies, and I can hear my dad like just talking all type of reckless in the background. And I'm just like, what is going on? So he said to my daughter, "You stupid. You sound stupid." And I'm like, hold on. Like, what is going on? Don't call my baby that. Like, what is going on? So, and I bet if I say something to him now, like you called Alyssa stupid, he would deny it. Like he always does. He always denies when he does anything crazy. But I'm so used to it now, because my dad definitely is an undiagnosed narcissist. It's like, just let it be. It is what it is. So I just hold my peace. So in the midst of us talking, and the only reason I'm even making this video is because I'm for certain there are other ladies, young ladies out here that are in the same type of child parent dynamic as I've always been in. And it can be a bit challenging. But I don't want to do it as a place of bashing my father. It may sound like that to some folks who get triggered, and I understand why it may sound like that. But I wanted to talk on from how my father presented to me a story as to why he is the way he is, but he didn't present it in this is why I am messed up, or why I got hit and that's why he didn't present it like that. He presented it as his excuse to why he's valid to dog my kids out the way he did. And I stopped him. I did. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory. So my middle baby won a sucker in art class yesterday, and she got in the car eating her sucker. My youngest child screamed she wanted a sucker, and my oldest child said, "You don't need no sucker, sit down." And I guess that set my father off. This is what I got from the story, and the crazy part is this is what I got from both sides. However, my dad tried to make it seem like my middle child was sucking on the sucker in my daughter's face. However, he didn't say that she said anything to her at first, but then he turned around and was like, she was talking crazy to her. But then you told me that my oldest child is the one who told her she don't need no sucker and she need to sit down. So then, everybody went their separate ways. I was talking to my 2 oldest, and I was like, I'm gonna call your grandfather. So I called my dad to get his side of the story, because I am a parent. I prefer to get everybody's side of the story and teach from a place of understanding, discipline from a place of understanding, and not from trauma, drama, and fear. I don't do that to my kids. I don't want them to endure that same type of upbringing that I did, where you was always made to be the fucking problem. Like my dad made me out to be the fucking problem all the time. Even when I was the one getting jumped in school, I was the problem. It was something I did. Like, as far, I always dealt with weight issues growing up. And when I was younger, I was real thin, like my youngest daughter, real tinky. And my mom ended up going back to work, and she would leave with my father, and my father would feed me Snickers all the time because he said I was too skinny. So then after he done got me all plumped and fat, my dad started calling me fat. Now it was my fault why I was fat. So it's that type of narcissism. So I talked to my dad. I just want to get your side of the story. He was like, I already said my side. I was like, I'm trying to just gain clarity, Dad. So then, if I need to say something to the girls, which I'm going to say something to them anyway, but I want to say it from a place of understanding. So I'm just trying to get the understanding from both sides as to what happened and how we got to the point where you felt the need to cuss my kids out. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain myself again. I say, you're not explaining yourself. You're just telling me what happened from your perspective. Now, mind you, I'm talking to my dad real low because I'm in school, but I'm in the hallway, and I'm talking to him real low so I don't disturb the other classes. And I'm like, Dad, I just want to hear what you had to say. There was a lot of people talking in the car, and I'm just trying to get, clarity on it. So then he goes to say, well, I just felt like she was just picking on Millie, and I don't know, maybe she mad because, we treat Millie a certain way, and she wasn't around when she was Millie age, and that wasn't our fault. That was you and Antonio's fault, because y'all moved on out of here, and this, that, and the other, and that time is gone, and she ain't gonna get that time back. It's done enough with. You ain't getting that. And I'm just like, wow. So in so many words, you just can't afford to do it. But I didn't go there. I said, well, Dad, maybe she would like to have that type of relationship with you guys. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe she would love to feel like that, the same way y'all make Millie feel. I was like, he was like, they disrespectful. They need to respect their elders. And I was like, Dad, they do have respect for y'all. They don't cuss at y'all. They don't be dogging y'all out. They don't do none of that. They be talking crazy. What is talking crazy? Give me an example. Couldn't even give me an example, y'all. Couldn't even give me an example. I'm gonna actually drive for a minute. Oh, I need gas. I guess I won't be driving for a minute. So then, the conversation goes on, and I'm like, Dad, you fuss with everybody. No, I don't fuss with everybody. Now, mind you, he irate this whole call. And I'm like, you're fussing with me now. And all I'm trying to do is call and gain an understanding as to what happened. Them your kids. You need to take care of your own kids. I do take care of my kids. All you're doing is picking them up and dropping them off. And you've turned it into this chaotic situation. Like, it's so crazy as I get older. And this is just to go off the story just for a little bit. As I get older and I'm realizing how a lot of situations regarding my father have played out. And I'm realizing now my dad was the problem, because he doesn't know how to respond in an understanding way. He only knows how to respond in a way where he feels that he could just yell his way into getting his way. And as I tell the story, I got to the bottom of where he feels he got that from. And I'm sure there's many more stories, but the initial story from his childhood came. So he was like, she need to stay in the child's place, and she need to act 12. I said, so how should the 12-year-old act, Dad? Like you was when you was 12, like I was when I was 12. I said, Dad, I got in a lot of trouble when I was 12, according to them. I was like, so you want her to sit around and get in trouble? Well, she just need to act 12. Okay, so you're still not telling me how a 12-year-old is supposed to act in your eyes. Man, when I was younger, and we get to the story now, the initial blunt of fucking him up. And when I tell you, my ancestors need their ass kicked. Um, he said, when I was young, back in my day, I come from a time when if you interrupt your parents, whatever, you got your butt kicked. And my grandma was having a meeting with the church ladies, and I just wanted to eat. And I was young, about 5, and I was putting on her dress and said, I'm hungry. And my grandma turned around and backhanded me. I said, and your grandma was wrong for that. He was like, what? I said, your grandma was wrong for that. She could have handled that a different way. He was like, no, I would have waited till the next morning if I had to. No, you shouldn't have had to wait till the next morning. You were a child, and all you know is to satisfy your normal human function of hunger. She knew she was having a meeting with the church ladies before y'all was hungry. I said all she had to do was sit y'all down and feed y'all. If she had the food done like you said she had it done beforehand, she could have sat y'all up to eat and then had the meeting with the church ladies. They would not have walked out. My dad was like, Dad, that ain't how I go. You gotta wait. I was like, no, Dad, that's not the type of woman I am. If my kids say they're hungry, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing. I don't give a fuck who is near me. I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and go handle that. I said, but honestly, being the woman that I am, my kids would have already been sitting down eating before I started that meeting. Because the moment you put some food in front of them, they're not going to interrupt. They're going to be too focused on the food. I said, your grandma could have handled that differently. I'm sorry you went through that. But she could have handled that differently. That still does not give her an excuse to backhand you for being hungry. So now you've equated being hungry as disrespectful. So, of course, he didn't like my rendition of that at all. And he's still going on. He told me I was aggressive. I said, Dad, I'm not even yelling at you. I'm talking to you real calm. Especially after I told him you argue with everybody. He's like, you being aggressive. And you did it. I said, Dad, I'm not even yelling at you. I'm talking real calm, cool, collective. I ain't yelled at all this whole phone call. And he was just like, and so then my mom ended up calling in, and my mom, he was like, no, before my mom called in, he basically was saying, well, we gonna see how they turn out, because your way of parenting. And I just was like, it is what it is. He tried to throw up with, you done made mistakes and did it. I said, Daddy, I have. I said, but I've turned out very well. I'm actually quite proud of how I've turned out. I love my life. I love my life. I love who I am as a woman. I'm not just physically strong. I'm mentally and spiritually strong. I love this place that I'm in. And I couldn't have gained any of that if I did not go through any of the experiences that I went through. He was like, well, you will see how them kids turn out, good. Because these kids, back in my day, I said, well, Dad, we're in a new day and age. It's not the same day and age now. There has to be different levels of teaching to accommodate the way society is set up now. He was like, well, that's why there's so many people out here fucked up and the kids out here doing what they do. And I was like, I'm not even talking about nobody else's kids. I'm only worried about mine. I said, and from the looks of it, my kids are doing damn good. I have a daughter that has a 3.06 in her freshman year of high school at one of the toughest schools to get into in the inner city of Cleveland. She had to audition. She had to interview to get in there. I have my middle baby, I just found out yesterday, which I've always known. She's a higher spectrum autism, I believe. So she's very high functioning, but she does have autism, a little bit of autism. But you couldn't really tell until you really start talking to her. But she's an excellent artist, an excellent dancer. Her creativity is her calling for sure. But when it comes to schoolwork, she has a little bit harder time understanding and getting through the content. Okay. So I have my youngest child, who's also a talented dancer. Okay. And very charismatic, very smart. She's a baby genius for real. She is definitely one of the little Einstein characters. They need to make her one. So I'm like, I feel like my kids are gonna be just fine. They have a peaceful mother who's not raising them from trauma, drama, and fear. I literally try to raise my kids from a place of peace and love and discipline them from peace and love, so then they grow up being these light and loving beings. They don't grow up being fucking tyrants and yelling at everybody to get their way. So, you know, I'm so used to the insults that my dad presents. I'm just used to it now. I'm like, that's just who he is, because somewhere in his life he doesn't feel good. And I know he doesn't, because it shows in his body and his physical attributes. He has diabetes. He's not compliant with it. He has a lot of body pain, like knee pain. It shows. And a lot of folks understand people who don't age gracefully, that's because mentally they were not graceful. Period. They were not graceful mentally. I try to keep my mind peaceful and high vibe, so then my body can be that. Like, your body is going to translate to you the I want to say the status, but the magnitude of your mind. If your mind is on, why is this bee like tapping on my window? I know I'm honey baby, but no, you can't come in. You know, so I don't, like I said, this rap shit. A lot of people freaking out. I'm actually gonna watch a video on that. It's one of my favorite YouTubers who does like all the spiritual TikTok funny. Oh my god, I can't wait to watch it as soon as I get done with this video. But yeah, just I held my ground in that situation. I'm so proud of myself, and it is so amazing at how far I've come in my spiritual journey, where I'm able to now interact without getting angry. Because when I used to interact with my dad, I used to get angry. Like, if I could have fought my dad, I would have. That's how angry I used to get talking to my dad. And we talking about, this was not long ago, this was recent, but I've now gotten to a place where I don't get angry when talking to him. Now I talk to him and I listen from a place of understanding. I don't listen from a place of victim. Victim wants to fight because they want to protect themselves. But understanding and compassion, just listen and we don't judge. Yeah, I just listen and I don't judge. Okay, that is compassion and understanding listening. Okay, yeah, but I just wanted to tell y'all that story because I'm just like, man, this is wild. It's wild. It's wild. So I told my babies, like, here, listen, from here on out, when y'all get in the car, speak, you know what I'm saying? We're going to keep some of the traditional things, but say, hey, Grandpa, leave it at that. If he asks, how was school? It was good. Keep it short. Short, sweet. I said, as far as Millie goes, and unfortunately, my baby is probably going to find out the hard way when dealing with my father. Because he's the type, he'll spoil you, get you all rotten, and then turn around and say you being disrespectful and dog you out. Once you get that spoiled itch to be like a little gremlin. So I told my babies, I said, listen, whenever Millie decide to cut up and act up, don't say nothing to her. Let Grandpa handle it. I said, because I guarantee, because she's actually already been doing it. My dad would talk about my mom and yell at my mom in front of my baby girl. And one day my daughter was like, I don't like the way you talking to my grandma. You need to stop. And he told her to shut up. This ain't Grandpa now. He told my baby to shut up. Now, my baby was right. And it's so funny that she did that, because our last big blowout of an argument that my dad and I had, it was about him talking about my mama and cussing her out. That was the last big blowout we had. And I remembered I was ready to kick my daddy ass. I ain't gonna hold, because he just got disrespectful. And then once you don't agree with what he's doing, he turn around and get disrespectful towards you. And I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. You dead ass for that. There has been so many times that my mom has sacrificed things she's wanted to do to help you bring flopped ass ideas. Oh, it's a blue jay. Flopped ass ideas to this world. I watched my mom slam her finger in a Jaguar door trying to open up his car wash that he don't even got now. You know, so I'm like, you're not finna talk about her like that. My mom has done more than proving to you why she should be your wife. And it sucks because she's already the wife. But she's still functioning as a woman who needs to prove her worth. And I feel so bad for my mom. Like, I love my mom to death. I want to see my mother in her full glory so bad. And I don't want to say that my dad's blocking her, because she chose to stay with him when she could have, you know, did whatever she wanted to do in life. But she, out of love, she stayed with my dad. And I understand that there are two blue jays sitting before me, like, just talking on this side. They're so beautiful. I'm sorry, y'all. You know, and I understand that level of love, because I actually had that level of love for my youngest child's father. I literally said that he was the love of my life, but because, like, I know for a fact he does not and cannot, he's incapable of loving me the same way, I had to let him go. I had to. My love don't deserve that. My love deserve a love that's reciprocal. And that's why I walked off. So, keep y'all peace, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all that. Keep y'all peace. You are going to have to defend your peace in front of your parents. I told you yesterday, people that you've known for years, you're going to have to hold your freaking vibe. I'm telling you. Because there are going to be moments it's going to test you. And this is not the time to match energy. Do not match energy. Like, I even had to let go of my famous saying, if you go low, I'll take you to hell. Hell no, I'm not going to hell. Not right now. Not right now, because I'm at a good place. So I can't be going to hell with y'all right now. You on your own. But I will kick you in that motherfucker. Okay, so, you know, hold y'all peace. Listen from a place of understanding and compassion. Do not listen from victim wanting to fight and defend yourself. You don't have to defend yourself. Like, I'm not defending myself to my dad. Like, I'm not. You wrong. I don't like talking to my kids. Like, and I said, I teach my babies to speak their mind when there's something bothering them. I teach them to do that. And it's so funny. My dad come from that old time period where women weren't allowed to fucking talk. My mom's not allowed to go back and forth with my dad. Now, lately, she been doing it because she been watching me. But no, we're not about to keep doing that. We're not doing that. So, I'm gonna get off this video, though. It was good talking to y'all early in the morning. Don't forget, hit like, subscribe, share the video with someone who you know possibly needs to hear this. Maybe going through this same type of thing with their parents. Just listen from a place of compassion, place of understanding. Don't go back and forth with them, because your blessings are coming. And I think, you know, the Bible has it where honor thy mother, thy father. I don't necessarily believe that statement was meant for us to tolerate bad behavior from our mothers and our fathers. You can honor them by really honoring yourself, which is holding your peace. Because if you're holding your peace, you're not going to cuss them out. You're not going to yell at them. So really, you should honor yourself. And I think that's what I'm going to title this video. Honor yourself. Because I held my honor yesterday. And I was so proud of myself. Despite what he said and all of that, I honored myself. I spoke. I said what I needed. You fuss with everybody. You need to stop. And I kept it at that. And I stayed like a queen. Peaceful, reserved. I didn't get irate. I didn't get out my hookup. And I was so proud of me. So I hope this video helps somebody. Okay? Like I said, check my description box. I love you guys to the moon and back. Till next time. Bye.